Hello guys, welcome back to Custom Gamer. Today we're going to be playing a little bit more Guild Wars 2, a human Necromancer. This footage was from the stress test that was held yesterday, the 21st of August. It was a 6-hour stress test, probably the last one before the release of the game, so this footage couldn't be any more recent. First of all, I have to explain my newbiness. I've only played Necro for about an hour and a half before I started recording this video, so if you're an MLG Pro Necro watching this and wincing at everything I'm doing, just chill out. Yes, I'm a noob. But I just wanted to try out all the as many different classes as I could in this game. It's really interesting. In most MMOs, you normally pick a character pretty early, and most players are pretty certain what they're going to play well before release, because the classes are very, very distinctive. And generally there's kind of a core playstyle for every single class, and people can kind of gravitate towards what they like. But in Guild Wars 2, because every single class can do just about anything, like most characters can do melee and ranged, they can all tank pretty much in their own way, and they all provide their own healing. It becomes much more of a kind of stylistic choice more than anything else, and the thing is that because all the classes, or should I say professions, are so stylized rather than specialized, I think they all kind of appeal to just about everyone. So I've been having a really hard time trying to decide what I'm going to play at launch, and I think Guild Wars as a game, like people choosing mains and alts and everything like that, it's kind of a symptom of other MMOs where it just takes so damn long to get a character ready for quote-unquote endgame that it's only really viable for most people to have one or perhaps two. Just because free time is such a limited resource. And with Guild Wars 2, because it's generally very quick to level up, and you can jump straight into PvP at level 1 with a max level character with everything unlocked. And you can jump into world versus world also and have a character bumped up to level 80. It's this whole thing about mains and alts, I think it's becoming more and more kind of irrelevant. You can just kind of roll the character you want to play and not have to worry about leveling it all the way up to 80 before you can start enjoying yourself. So I think what I'm going to do in the game is I think you get 5 character slots by default, and you can buy more in the gem store, which is the real world transaction stuff in this game. But I could just roll 5 characters on day 1 of all the classes that I'm interested in playing, and I can instantly play them all in max level PvP, world versus world. And I'm not really in any great rush to level to 80 in the PvE game, because like Arena have said, the end game is the entire game is the end game. Which sounds really strange, being a WoW player for like 5 years and trying out Warhammer and Rift and all these other games. Generally, the game starts, quote unquote, at max level, and kind of leveling is just something you do to get there, and it's generally not particularly good. In Guild Wars 2, that's a bit different. Like, this is the first zone of the game, and you'll notice I'm fighting kind of veteran level creatures, and there's some really large world bosses that take multiple people to take down. This is all in the first zone, and there's some fairly deadly enemies here as well. I mean, we're talking like I'm level 7 here, and we're fighting like these boars which can practically 2 or 3 shot you if you're not careful. And I've got some footage later on of me attacking some high level enemies just to show you the kind of challenge you can get in the first zone. It's a really interesting way to attack the PvE game, the fact that every single zone is interesting, every single zone has world bosses and kind of mini raid bosses in it. It's very cool. So here we've taken down this pig. I noticed the circle on the minimap saying there was a boss level pig here, and then you'll notice there's another one here. Just get that guy up. Finish off our renown heart somewhat. So you notice this guy's got a gold portrait, which means he's like a super doubly triply hard boss. So I noticed there's one other guy here, so I thought, why not? We'll give it a shot. How hard can it be? And pretty organically over time, more people just tend to enter the fight. You'll notice there's some guy behind me shooting, and there's a couple of guys coming from the in front of me there as well. And before long, there's like 10, 20 people here fighting this thing. It just happens completely organically. Like there's no kind of, oh my god, LFG to help you guys take down the boss, or you know, oh my god, invite me to group or I'm not helping. Or like, people can't like tag this boss and then just get all the XP when other people kill it. It just doesn't work that way. It's a very, very communal game. So there's no mob tagging, there's no kill stealing or any of that crap which you had to deal with in World of Warcraft for so many years. And the fact that there's only one faction in the game, like for instance if you played World of Warcraft you're probably well aware of the whole Horde Alliance split. In this game there is just one faction. The other factions take on the form of the world versus world game where you're fighting against other servers. You're paired up against 2 other servers, so it's a 3-way fight over 4 huge maps, and you can like take over keeps and, you know, take over towers and produce siege weapons to take the enemy's keeps. So other servers take the role of what factions would be in World versus World? What am I talking about? In World of Warcraft. So in PvE what happens is that there's no kind of competitive gameplay between factions or between players or groups. It's just everyone is essentially in one big group, which is the entire server. You don't need to worry about whether you're on the guy's team or in his group or anything like that. Now you notice here in this fight, it seems that trying to res someone just puts you right at the top of the enemy's aggro table. You notice as I tried to res that guy, he instantly turned to face me, and it's like, okay, get the hell out of there, because this guy will practically 2-shot me, I think. So I thought he was down there, so I started resing, but it turns out he just got knocked down by someone. Here's the kill. Bam. So you get a bunch of experience, you get some influence, guild influence, which is the currency you can use to buy upgrades for your guild. And you get karma, which is the dynamic event currency which you earn whenever you complete a dynamic event, and there are many karma vendors all over the world, and you can buy items from them. You can buy, you know, upgrades, gems, all this kind of stuff. And I believe in the high level zones you can buy like full sets of you know, max level armor and things like that. Okay, so what have we got here? We're exploring around a little bit more. I noticed there's a little encampment up here, so I decided to go and check it out. Yeah, there's waypoints scattered all over the zones in this game, so as there are no mounts, so no giant sparkle ponies for anyone, I'm afraid, which is probably a good thing, now that I think about it. But yeah, there's just a waypoint system instead, so you can travel instantly to any waypoint in the entire world. The further away it is, the more money it'll cost. But generally it's a nice system. So we've got some wargs attacking here, attacking the base. So we're just going to take them out. I haven't really spoken much about the Necromancer mechanics, so I suppose I should. You notice here I've got the axe and warhorn equipped. So the warhorn is like a utility kind of weapon. It's the number 4 and 5 skill. The 4 skill kind of dazes everything in a cone in front of you, which is really handy for like interrupting attacks and getting away and things like that. And the number 5 skill is this kind of, what you're seeing now, the kind of insect swarm, which grants you swiftness, so you can move faster. And I believe it applies an effect to the enemy as well. I'll have to check, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. It might just be the swiftness. It might blind nearby enemies when you first cast it or something like that. Yeah, so it's a great kind of utility weapon. And the first 3 skills are the axe skills, which I love the axe on the Necromancer, it's so good. The axe 2 skill, which I believe you'll see in a moment here, it's kind of a charge skill. Yeah, you'll see here. It just does a load of damage, and like the axe spins in midair as it does it. It's great. It feels fantastic. And the 3 skill is kind of an player-based AoE, which just damages all the enemies around you. I think it does more damage if there's more conditions on the target. Yes, I can't remember. This is Death Shroud. This is the Necromancer's main ability. you gain life force by damaging enemies, and then you can go into this Death Shroud ability, which gives you essentially a second health bar. This green health bar you're seeing slowly deplete in the centre of the screen there. It depletes slowly when you're in Death Shroud. And you gain new abilities in Death Shroud as well. There's like a fear you can do. You can like teleport to people and slow them. But the main kind of benefit of Death Shroud is that because it's a second health bar, you can use it to kind of escape some very nasty situations. So you can use it as a health buffer. So if you're about to take a massive attack, you can just pop your Death Shroud and let that kind of second health pool absorb the blow, then just swap back to your normal mode. And there's a lot of great things you can do with this, like for instance in PvP as well, it's essential to use. And it's got some really nice utility spells that are only available while you're in that mode. So here's an interesting fight. This guy's level 11 and I'm level 8 I think here. So it's a pretty tricky fight. When this guy hits me, he takes off like pretty much half my health pool, so I just kind of wanted to demonstrate that the fact that player skill and all the player movement and stuff you can do, and like dodging attacks, it really is central to the gameplay in Guild Wars 2. It's not just like a superfluous thing that you can just stand there and tank the mob and, you know, kill it that way. It really doesn't work that way in this game. You really do need to avoid damage, use stuns, dodge attacks, and use all your special abilities when you need them. And we can take him down. So there really is a fantastic challenge here for gamers that are looking for a hard challenge. You can just kind of go to some slightly higher level areas in the zone you're in, and you will find a very tough challenge. Like those Etiens I was fighting at the beginning of the video, the ones with the big clubs which have that big power attack. If that thing hits you, it's practically a one-shot, but it's telegraphed really, really well. You get that kind of glowing effect around his club as he's leaning back. Yeah, if that thing hits you, it's goodbye time. So this is the town of Beetleton. This is what I like to call the chill out area of the first zone in Guild Wars. So there's a renown heart here you can do. All the renown hearts are, you know, just optional stuff you can do for extra experience and karma. And you have to do them all to get the map completion bonuses. So what you're seeing here is a vista. This is a new thing that Arena have added recently. Essentially they're scattered around the world in kind of spots of visual interest. If you can get to them, you're treated with a nice cutscene here which shows off the world. And you get some map completion and a bit of experience, which is cool. And that kind of manor house mansion you're seeing there, I think that's a dungeon. But like a level, I think it's level 50-ish or 40, 50-ish dungeon. So you can't get to it just yet. Of course, please correct me if I'm wrong. And then I come across this skill challenge guy here. So, skill points, which you earn from leveling up and from completing skill challenges, are what you unlock your utility skills with. And your utility skills go on your number 7, 8 and 9 key in the hotkey bar you'll see. You'll see these are all the utility skills here. So you'll see each one costs 1 point. And you have to unlock 5 skills in the first tier before you can start unlocking them in the second tier, etc, etc. And you can swap out your utility skills whenever you're out of combat. So it's great to just unlock as many as you can, and you can kind of customize your character on the fly here. Then I can summon these bone minions which will attack my enemies, and then I can command them to explode whenever I like, which is pretty awesome. And here we are, just finishing off the renown heart. Get a nice level up from it. You get some money here in the mail as well. Sometimes you get items and things like that too. But yeah, this is kind of a chill out area, so the renown heart was just kind of like clearing away wasps' nests, clearing graffiti off of walls and things like that. This next event is not so much a chill out. It's a boss queen. Should I say Queen Wasp? This is quite a long fight, and again there's lots of players here because it's a dynamic event. Everyone's just joining up to try and take this thing down. And the mechanic on this boss is that occasionally she'll fly up into the air and then drop down a whole bunch of wasp I suppose ads you're gonna call them. And it's important to take these guys out as fast as you can because they poison everyone. Poison in this game, it does damage over time, but it also reduces the effect of any healing on you by, I think it's 33%. There she are, she's back now. I've got my axes out, doing lots of direct damage. The axe is kind of a direct damage weapon, so you get I think on the first attack it applies vulnerability, which just generally increases all damage done to the target. And of course the number 2 skill is that kind of multi-hit kind of duration attack, which is really, really nice. I actually got a focus equipped in the offhand here, which gives me some nice utility and defensive skills. So the number 4 skill fires a scythe, which kind of boomerangs towards your target, and I believe it inflicts a movement impairing effect as well as damage. And the number 5 skill will inflict a frozen effect on the target, which again slows their movement, and I believe it slows their skill recharge rate as well. So it's pretty nice. Going into Death Shroud here. And you'll notice, it might be here or a bit later on, the boss actually hits me while I'm in Death Shroud, and it takes away all of my Death Shroud health and about half of my normal health as well. Yeah, here it goes here. That's just one hit from the boss, and if I wasn't in Death Shroud I probably would have downed me right there and then. So that's a great example of how Death Shroud can really save your bacon. Just gonna take out more of these wasps. Here she comes back down. You'll notice all the icons under the boss health are all the conditions that players are putting on them, and this is something I really like about Guild Wars. So if you've played World of Warcraft or any other MMO, you'll notice the amount of debuffs and negative effects you can have placed on you by all the different classes and mobs in the game is a staggering amount, and being expected to learn them all and what they do is it takes a bloody long time, and it's so complicated. So in Guild Wars 2 they've kind of refined this system down to a certain amount of what they call boons and conditions, and boons are basically positive buffs which you can put on yourself and your allies, and there's only a certain amount of these across the entire game. I think it's like 10 boons and 15 conditions or something like that. I don't know, it's probably incorrect numbers, but you get the idea. And each class can just apply these boons and conditions in different ways. So for instance, the Necromancers, generally lots of bleeds and poison and things like that, and the kind of movement slowing effects, chills. So for instance, if you're in PvP and you get a chill effect on you, you instantly know, right, this chill effect is going to slow me by, what is it, like 30%, and my skills are going to recharge slower. And that's the same effect no matter what, no matter who applies it to, it's going to be the same effect. And it must do wonders for balance in PvP as well, like being able to balance the game with just a limited amount of boons and conditions. Must be so much easier. Yeah, I really like the system because it's really easy to learn what each debuff does. You don't have to like constantly read tooltips or anything like that. I mean, it took me about an hour to like memorize the icons and learn what they do, and after that you're just kind of home free. So it's a really nice design, very elegant. You notice here in this fight I'm taking on veteran mobs alone again, just to see if I can manage it, and I barely do in this fight. It's so close. The Necromancer's heal skill, the thing on number 6, actually summons a minion which can be killed before you heal. If that minion dies before you use your heal just doesn't work. You have to wait to resummon it. And the more damage the minion does before you sacrifice it to heal yourself, the more healing you get. So that's an interesting mechanic again for the Necromancer. There are other heals you can unlock which are more standard, but this one's kind of cool. I like it. I'm just derping into a rock. Now, the thing I really realised during this stress test playing, I played a bit of my Guardian as well, a bit of Necro and a bit of Hunter. And I was trying to decide how to describe this game to people that don't play MMOs or have just played like World of Warcraft or something like that. And I noticed this a lot. People are always asking, like on Reddit and forums, like how do I explain Guild Wars to people that have only played World of Warcraft or, you know, haven't played MMOs. And I've been thinking about this a lot. And generally I've come to the conclusion that the best way to describe it is like multiplayer Skyrim. because the PvE world is essentially exactly like the Elder Scrolls. You just go out and explore the world. And there are quests. There is a main quest you can do for your character. It's completely optional. You don't have to touch it if you don't want to. And you know, you're just sent out into the world to explore, and events happen around you, and depending on where you go. So I think if you've got friends that are asking you like, what is Guild Wars 2, just tell them it's like Skyrim with your friends. I think that's the best way to describe it. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I've been ranting a little bit more than I should have, gone a bit over budget here, but yeah. I've got some PvP videos which I'll upload in the days to come, and I hope you enjoyed it, so I'll see you next time.